And welcome to this walkthrough exam paper. This is for our June 2019 Paper 2 Foundation. Lots of my students did this as an assignment over 2 weeks, and what I want you to do now is to watch this video and then look again at that exam paper. I've reopened it and look to improve your mark by 20 marks out of 80 or by 25%. So here we have the opening page, and it's a reminder to show you working out and that you can use a calculator. So we start off with 0.25 in simplest form. Well, we recognize that 25 over 100 is the same as 0.25, but we're asked to simplify that. So I notice that I can divide top and bottom by 25, and that would give me 1 over 4, or 0.25 is a quarter. So there we go. First mark, 79 to go. We want to put these in order of size. So -4, -2, 0, 3, and 5. These first questions are just simple numeracy. 2 factors of 15 is loads of them. Could be 1, could be 3, could be 5, could be 15. You choose. Changing that into kilograms. So I know that there are 1,000 grams in a kilogram. So I will take 1675, put it in my calculator, and divide by 1,000. And when I do that, this. Question 5. Write the number 3 million in figures. Well, I know it's 3. That's 3,000. That's 3 million. So 6 zeros. Question 6. Simon goes to a cafe, 2 cups of coffee and a piece of cake. Each cup of coffee costs that, cake costs that. What changes does he get? Well, I've got to write out my calculations. So I've written out there in detail, coffee, 2 lots of, cake, 1 lot of, add them together, £8.41. What's my change? £10 take away, £8.41. I get £1.59. And just to make sure that MathsWatch that gets it, I've written it with the pound sign and I've written it on a new line. And there we go. Question 7. There are Y boats on the lake, 6 people in each boat. How many people in total in the boats? Well, if there was just 1 boat, it would be 6. If there were 2 boats, it would be 12. So it's going to be 6 times however many boats there are. There we go. Number 8. Simplifying these, well, it's 8ab, that's my protocol. For y times y, we know it's y cubed, so I'm going to use my plus thing here to give me the up there and hit the 3. And in this one, it's a little bit of practice. There's 4 y's on the top and 3 on the bottom, so I can say that's going to be e on the top. I want to have my fraction button, I think, there. So on the top, I'm going to have 1e. And on the bottom, I'm going to have, let's see, there's 2 f's on the bottom, 1 on the top. So if I cross off 2 f's up top and bottom, I'll be left with 1 on the bottom. So it'll be e over f. And now we've moved on to grade 1. We've got that many points. That's good. But that's the simpler stuff. We need to move on and engage with the slightly harder stuff. So we have some records. This is a pictogram. I'm told this is 8, not 4. So on Monday, that's 8 and 8 and 8. That'll be 24. On Tuesday, that's 8 and 8. And this is not 1. This would be 2. So 8 and 8, 16 plus 2 would be 18. And for the second part, I'm told I've got to work out the proportion of records sold on Wednesday and Thursday, 3 times the number sold on Wednesday. So I want to work this one out. I'm going to draw a bar model, 3 and 1. So Thursday was 3 times. So I'm going to write a Thursday there, labeling it. Wednesday is once. I'm told there were 32 in total. So 32 divided by 4 lots tells me that 1 lot is 8. So therefore, is going to be 24 on Thursday and 8 on Wednesday. I'll just put it into MathsWatch. And if I hit submit answer, then we got an extra 5 marks just for doing that, which is really, really good. Okay, we have some symbols here. Need to work some of these. Do I know my less than, greater than, or equal sign? That's clearly going to be less than. For this one, I need to work out 4 plus 9 is 13. But what is this one here? 102 minus 89. That's also going to be 13. So that's going to be equals. Over here, 3 squared and 3 times 3. Well, I know that is the same thing. And what about this one? -4 and -6. Well, 4 negatives and 6 negatives. If I owed you £4, or if I owed you £6, then that would be a lot less. So it's going to be, that means it's not quite as bad, if you like. So, and there we go. And we're moving up. Question 11. Work out the value of P when R is 6 and Q is -4. So this is a substitution question. So it's going to be P is 9 lots of R when R is 6 and 3 lots of Q, which is -4. So do multiplication first. So 9 times 6 is 54. 3 times -4, 3 lots of -4 is -12. So therefore, that should be 42. And we'll stick it into MathsWatch. And there's my 42, no working out required. And we've got those marks. Going up to question 12. So we have a train timetable. Gavin gets to the station at 7:05 in Brighton. How long does he have to wait? Well, it's 7:18 minus 7:05. That's 13 minutes. How long does the 7:18 train take to get to London? So we want to have that in hours and minutes. Well, there's several ways of doing this one. And I find that very often it makes sense to use a little diagram to break it apart. So from 7:18 till 8 o'clock, it's going to be 42 minutes. And then from 8 through till 9 is going to be another hour. That makes 1 hour, 42 minutes. And stick that into MathsWatch. We're now up to grade 2. So far, so good. But we're aiming for that grade 4 as a minimum. So here we have 9 identical squares inside a rectangle. And I'm told the length of the rectangle is 18. So what am I going to do? I'm going to look at this and I recognize that going from here across, I can count squares. 1, 2. Well, that's above that. So that's still 2 from the left. 3. Well, that's above that. So this is 3, 4, 5, 6. So that tells me that the width of one square is going to be 18 divided by 6, and that's going to be 3 centimeters. And therefore, the height of one square, because it's a square, is going to be the same. It's going to be 3 centimeters. So in terms of that width, well, how many are there going to be? Well, I can see there's 1, there's 2, 3, 4, and 5. So I can say that the height of 5 squares, or okay, I guess I'd use the word width, but I'll use the word height just for now, is going to be 5 times 3. And therefore, using this expression width, I prefer base and height generally to avoid complication like this, is 15. But what are my units? They are centimeters. Do remember your centimeters. So, question 14. Write this in the ratio n to 1. Well, I'm just going to run through how we do this just to remind you. And ordinarily, if I had a ratio, let's say, for example, 12 to 4, then I would simplify this by saying divide 2 by both sides. So I could say, well, divide by 2, I get 6. Divide by 2, I get 2. Can I simplify it some more? Yes, I can. I can simplify there, divide by 2 again, and I get 3, and do that, divide by 2, and I get 3 to 1. Or I could do it in one go, divide both sides by 4. Well, this way of writing is a little bit different. 6.5 to 3.25. In this case, what I want to do is I want to get it to the form of something to 1. So I'm going to divide this right-hand side by 3.25, and then I'll do the same thing over here, dividing by 6.25. Oops, I beg your pardon. It should be 3.25. 3.25. So in my calculator, I'm going to do 6.5 divided by 3.25. And when I do that, I get the expression number 2. Now, I might be able to work it out with my head beforehand, but since it's a calculator question, you may as well do that. So it's going to be 2 to 1. And there it is in MathsWatch. And we're on to question 15. Doing well. And now the questions get a little bit longer. So I need to do some calculations here. I'm going to talk you through how I would do this. So here I've written out the area of my garden is the base times the height. So 85 times 550 gives me this value here. Stick my units in. Flowers, I'm told, are in 32% of that garden. Well, I can work out 100% minus 32% tells me that grass must be 68% of the garden. So therefore, I'm going to work out 68% of that, which is 0.68 times 4250 is 2890 meters squared. And do remember your units. Looking good. Question 16. We have some coins. And again, we're looking to see here, the least likely means the lowest probability. So I've got A, 0.66, B, 0.066, C, 2/3, which is 0.66 recurring, and then D, 0.60, putting them all in as decimals. So the least likely is going to be B, because it has the smallest or the lowest probability. Which is the most likely? What's going to be the largest number? And C is slightly larger than A, because the 3 decimal places, A is 0.660, but C is 0.666 because it is recurring. So it's going to be C is most likely. The probability that D will land on tails, well, if the coin is heads or tails, then it's got to be one way or the other. So it's going to be 1 minus that 60%. And I could write that as 40%, or presumably I could write it as 0.40. And then finally, coin B is going to throw in 4,000 times and estimate that it'll land on heads. Well, it is the probability. So it's 0.066 for every time. That's the chance it lands on heads. I'm doing it 4,000 times. So I'm going to stick that in my calculator. I'm going to do 0.066 times 4,000. And I get that to be 264 times. Just hit submit answer. And now we're up to grade 3. And I'm hoping to come to the summer exams, you're able to do questions like this and just keep working your way through them because we are confident with this material. Okay, they're getting a bit more challenging. There are 86 calories in 100 grams of banana, 89 calories in 100 grams of yogurt. Amanda's 70 kilograms of that. What are we going to work out? Well, I would say 86. Let's do the yogurt banana first, shall we? So there's our banana. I have 86 calories in 100 grams, okay, of banana. That tells me that's going to be 8.6 calories in 10 grams. I want to know how much is it going to be in 70. So that's going to be 8.6 times 7 calories. And what's that going to be in my calculator? 8.6 times 7 is 60.2 calories in 70 grams. So step by step, I'm doing this. I'm now going to look at the yogurt. And I'm going to say, I know that there are 89 calories in 100 grams. It's always good to put your working out in detail and to use words. So therefore, I recognize that in 10 grams, there are 8.9 calories in 10 grams. And I want to work out what is there going to be in 140 grams. So I'm going to be it's going to be 8.9 times 14. That's going to be a number of calories because there's 14 lots in 140 grams. So 8.9 times 14, and that works out at 124.6. And that's going to be calories in 140 grams of yogurt. So then my total is simply going to be 60.2 plus 124.6. And when I add those two together, 60.2 plus 124.6, and that's going to give me 184.8. And if I hit submit answer, there's another 4 marks, and we're at 42 out of 80. We've got half of the paper correct so far. So question 18 is a very wordy question, and it looks complicated. If we take it systematically, it's not so bad at all. So we have machine A, machine B, they make car parts, and I've written down there, machine A, 7 parts in 10 minutes, machine B, 16 car parts in 15 minutes. First thing I want to do is work out how many parts each machine makes in 1 hour. So here you can see I've written out that in 1 hour, A will make 42 parts because there are 6 lots of 10 minutes in an hour. So 7 times 6 is 42. And machine B will make 64 parts because there are 4 lots of 15 minutes or quarter hours. So it would be 16 times 4. And now I need to work out how much does it make A in 12 hours and B in 10 hours. So there you can see I've worked out, we've got 12 lots of 42 to give me 504, 10 lots of 64 to give me 640, add all those together and I get 1,144 parts. And notice we're now getting very close towards a grade 4. Question 19. So we want to plot these points on a scale of 1 to 60. So we're going to use these MathsWatch tools. So first of all, it's a scale of 1 to 60. I want to, if it's 240 centimeters, then on this, it's going to be 240 divided by 60. And that's going to be 4 centimeters on my map. So I want something that's on A and on the line AB. So what am I going to do? Well, one way of doing that to plot a point is simply to take my compasses and to set them up to 4 centimeters. And if I do that and start to draw there, that is anywhere that is 4 centimeters from A is along that radius. Go to the compasses. So where do I have that is 4 centimeters from there and on line AB? It's clearly going to be here. So I'm going to drop my point onto here. And I want to have a point. And let's just move that. And there it is. And hopefully that's close enough for MathsWatch to make sense of it. So now I want to plot a point that's 240 from A and on the line CD. So 240 from A and on the line CD is along here. It's going to be this point here. So let's get another point, and we're going to drag this, and that should be approximately there, assuming I'm quite on the line. And then the last one, a little bit trickier, is again on A, 240, but it's 96 centimeters from the line CD. So what I want to do is I want to draw a line along here that's 96 centimeters. Well, on my scale, 96 I would divide by 60, and that gives me 1.6. So I'm going to use my ruler, and I'm going to measure 1.6 centimeters from there. So here we go. I'm looking for 1.6, and I can see that if that's 1, that should be 1.6 centimeters just there. So I'm going to just make a mark. I'm going to make a mark just there to help me with my coordination. That should be 1.6 centimeters from CD. So it should be, actually I think I'm a little bit high there. No, I am right, that's right. And similarly over here, I want to get 1.6. So I'm going to make a mark just there. And then I'm going to line those up and get rid of my ruler. Actually, I need the ruler back, don't I? So, and now I'm going to use the ruler to draw from there to there. Make that a little bit longer. And basically, there is my ruler. There's my line. And now I'm asking myself, okay, where to connect? Well, here where this connects is clearly going to be my point. So let's have another point, and we will drop that on there. So if we may possibly have to remove those points, let's just see if MathsWatch is happy with that or not. And yeah, it likes that. So again, that's how I would be doing my question there. We're now at grade 4. Hey, congratulations. We are passing our GCSE paper, but we're only just passing. If we got one of those questions before wrong, then sadly, we would not be guaranteed that pass. We need to keep on going and making sure we get a secure pass, indeed moving towards a grade 5. So here, I'm going to solve this equation. 15n is greater than 12n plus 8. This is exactly like I would do with solving an equation. I want to get n by itself on one side of the greater than sign. So I'm going to take away 12n. So take away 12n for both sides. I get 3n is greater than 18. Or greater than, yes, it should be 18. I beg your pardon. I've mistyped that. And then having taken away 12n, I now want to get one lot of n. So I'm going to divide by 3. And I get n is greater than 6. Because 3n divided by 3 is going to be n, and 18 divided by 3 is 6. So then I have this question here, and I think this one I'll just show you how we do this one here. So here I've written this one out, and as before, I want to get n by itself, so I'm going to take away 3 from all sides. So take away 3 from there, take away 3 from there, oops, and take away 3 from there. And if I do that, negative 2 take away 3 becomes negative 5. N plus 3 take away 3 becomes just n. And then here, less 4 take away 3 becomes 1. So what could it be? Well, let's talk about my positives. Could be 0, could be 1. Okay, what about my negatives? Well, it could be a negative 1, could be a negative 2, could be a negative 3, could be a negative 4. Could it be a negative 5? No, it can't, because it's greater than negative 5. So that's going to be my list, and I'm going to stick that into MathsWatch. And I've done that and hit submit answer. And then our grade 4 is becoming more secure. We have to draw a graph here from these values, -2 to 4. Well, best thing to do then is to draw a table of values. So I don't necessarily need to do at intervals of 1. I've chosen here to do a table of values when x is -2 all the way up to 4 and done in installments of 2. So I have to ask myself, let's start with 0. We'll do the negative ones in a minute. Y equals 2x minus 3. If x is 0, 2 lots of 0 minus 3 is -3. What about if x is 2? 2 lots of 2 is 4. Take away 3 is 1. 4, if x is 4, 2 lots of 4 is 8. Take away 3 is 5. And then we come to the -2. That's a tricky one, isn't it? So y is going to be 2 times -2, take away 3. That's going to be -4, take away 3, and I can work out that that's -7. So we stick it in there. Now if I get this right, we should see a jump there. It's going up in 4, going up in 4, going up in 4. So now I need to plot those points on my graph. So there I've plotted those 4 points that I calculated. So I grab my ruler. I'm going to take it down to the beginning point, and then I'm going to twist it around and make it a little bit longer. And hopefully we can plot all of those points just from one corner to the other. Looks like it's going through those okay. Oops. I should move that. And let's use our blue. And that hopefully will be our line. Take away the ruler and have a look at it. And that looks pretty good to me. Is MathsWatch happy? And it is indeed. So I know it's a little awkward using the MathsWatch tools, but we have to work with what we can at this current time. Okay, we have a question on sampling. Let's read this one. So this is all to do with proportionality and being representative. So we look at this and we want to know how many we think will want to go to the theme park. Well, we haven't asked everyone. We've only asked 30 students, but we're hoping that the 30 students we've asked will give us an idea for everyone. So of those 30 students, how many said the theme park? Well, we see that 10 of them said the theme park, and that's 10 out of 30. So I could write 10 out of 30, which obviously is a third. So I'm saying that a third of them we think wanted to go to the theme park. And if that's true for everyone, then it should be 1/3 of all of the 225 should want to go to the theme park. So I grab my calculator and I do 10 over 30, or 1/3, times 225. And that tells me that it should be 75 students. And we'll see if we are right or not in just a moment. And then we're asked about the sample being accurate. And actually it says less accurate. It's like a trick question to make it less accurate. Well, if you think about it, if I only asked one student, that'd be very inaccurate, wouldn't it? So the more people I ask in my sample, the more accurate it will be. So if I was to ask all 225, then actually it's going to be perfectly accurate. So A is not going to make it less accurate, it's going to make it bigger accurate. And similarly, making sure it's randomly chosen, so I'm choosing people at random, will make it more accurate. But what about only asking year 7s? Well, I can imagine year 7s might not be as interested in some things as other students, so that would be a problem. I'm definitely going to stick in a B there. But the question suggests, it says, which of the statements, maybe there's more than one answer. Asking only people in the cafeteria, well, you know, some people like to stay in the cafeteria, but there may be what about the people who are outside on the playing fields? Maybe, you know, they might be more sporty, they might want to go to the sports center. And if we only ask a certain number of people in a certain area, it might not be very accurate. So I reckon C will also be an answer. Let's see if we're right. And look, we are up to grade 5. That wasn't a big jump from grade 4 to grade 5. And it's one of the things I want to stress is that actually, you know, once you're at grade 4, we may as well put the work in to get to a grade 5. But can we make the grade 5 secure? Well, let's have a look. How many questions do we have left? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 questions left. And we have one here on the shape of a cuboid. And this is a worded question. It's a geometry thing. It's using the fact that milliliters of water, and it talks about centimeters, and it's good to know that 1 cubic centimeter is the same as 1 milliliter. So how do I do this question? First of all, I find the volume of the cuboid, and I know that that's going to be 36 times 6 times 23. And I stick that into my calculator. So I work out that that is 4968 cubic centimeters. I now want to work out, I'm told it's 2/3 full of water. So I want to work out what's the volume of the water. Well, that's going to be 3312 cubic centimeters. And we often measure water in terms of milliliters. So I know that that's going to be the same. It's going to be that milliliters. So I want to know how many cupfuls of water do I need? Well, 1 cupful is 275. So basically, I'm going to divide that by 275 and see what I get. So if I do that, I get 12.04 cups. So I'm getting lots of my method marks there. And then the last part of the question is the greatest number of cups that can be filled with water from the container. And here you need to read the question really carefully. If it was saying, how many cups do I need to fill the container? Well, 12 wouldn't be enough. It would have to be 13. But the question isn't asking that. The question is asking, if I take the water from the container and pour it into the cups, how many cups can I completely fill? Well, I can't fill 13, but I can fill 12 cups. And so I'm going to write down there my answer, 12 cups. That's worth 4 marks. And we are going further and further into that grade 5. And now we're going to use some trigonometry, some SOHCAHTOA, and I'm going to again show how to do this using a formula triangle. So to do this question, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to label my diagram, and I'm going to say to myself, well, that is my opposite because it's opposite the angle. And the longest side of a right angle triangle is opposite the right angle, that's the hypotenuse, and then this must be the adjacent, the other side beside the angle. And I'm going to say to myself, okay, which do I want to use? I want to find the, I know the hypotenuse. I want to find AB. So therefore, I want the opposite. I'm not using those. So my SOHCAHTOA, which of my formula triangles is going to work for me? Well, it's going to be the sine. So I'm going to have, this is going to be my sine. Sine is the opposite over the hypotenuse. And if I fill that in a little bit bigger, I've got sine of 37. My opposite is what I want to find. Call it AB. And my hypotenuse is 18. That tells me that my opposite is going to be 18 times the sine of 37. So I stick that into my calculator. 18 times the sine of 37. And that gives me 10.8326. So that's, write it in there. That's 10.83, oops, do it again, 326. And I wanted 2 decimal places, so there's my rounding bar there, and it's going to be 10.83. And so there I've written out my 18 times sine 37, and I've rounded out to 10.83 centimeters. Question 25. Sarah wants to work out her error interval. Well, what can I chop this one down to? What's the smallest it could possibly increase by? And since we're given this to 1 decimal place, we're going to do our error interval to 2 decimal places. So if this was an ordinary error interval, we would be writing 7.85 and, I beg your pardon, 7.75. And then 7.85, and that's what we would be used to seeing. But if I hit the enter key or hit the submit key, you would see that that would not give you the right answer, because actually it's asking it in a different way. Because, and this is where it's quite a difficult question, this one, because it says the answer begins with 7.8, and then we are ignoring what comes after that. So that isn't a rounding question. That is a truncating question. It's a chopping off bits question. So actually, the lowest it could possibly be is 7.8. It could be 7.800000000. That would be the lowest. What's the highest it could be? Well, it could be, I guess, 7.89999999999, which I would write as 7.9. So it's a truncation error interval rather than a rounding. And that is particularly tricky, which is why it's right there up in the grade 5 questions. Question 26, we have a sharing thing. Well, why don't we use a bar model? Because bar models help us to make sense of all of this. So there's the first part of my bar model. I've got Anne, it's got 2 parts, and Bill has got 9 parts. And we're told that Chloe and Dave get 2.5 times the amount Anne gets. Now the wording here is a little ambiguous. It's not saying that they get 2.5 times together. So the implication is that Chloe gets 2.5 times and Anne gets and Dave gets 2.5 times. So if Anne has 2 parts or 2 boxes, then 2 times 2.5 would be 5 boxes. So I'm just going to extend that bar model a little bit further. And so there you can see we've got all of these lovely bars, and the total is going to be £399. So I can say that all of that is 399. How many boxes do I have? Well, there's a 2 and a 9 and a 5 and a 5, and that's going to be 21 boxes. So I want to work out what's 399 divided by 21. Well, I'm going to use my calculator for that because it's calculator paper. So 399 divided by 21 parts tells me it's 19. So any one box is going to have a value of 19. So that's 19. That's 19 all the way through. And I'm asked, how much does Bill get? Well, basically, Bill gets 9 boxes of £19. So 19 times 9, I get to be £171. Let's stick that into MathsWatch and see if it likes that. So there I've written out. Now obviously with, although we've gone for a bar model, which is a graphical thing, we want to type out some stuff here. So I've explained what it is that I'm doing here. 21 parts, 1 part is worth £19, and we hope that MathsWatch will be happy with that. And they were. So 3 questions left to go. Write this in standard form. Well, I'm going to count. It's going to be 6.58 something times 10 to the power something times 10 to the what? Well, starting here, ending up between the 6 and the 5, it's 1, 2, 3, but it's smaller than 1, so it's going to be negative. So it's going to be negative 3. And then this one is going to be 3274 multiplied by 1,000. Well, if I multiply that, to be honest, it's a calculator paper. I can just put in my calculator if you want to. But 3.274 times 1,000 will give me 3274. And notice how, even though it was right at the end of the paper, actually it was quite a straightforward question and well worth reading through to the end to make sure that we can do those questions. And then question 28, we have some Fibonacci. So what do I have happening here? I notice this Fibonacci means they're adding them. So 4 and 4 is 8, 4 and 8 is 12, 8 and 12 is 20. What's my next one? 12 and 20 will be 32. And then after that, 32 plus 20 would be 52. So we're just testing, do we know what's meant by that Fibonacci sequence? And it says the first 3 terms of a Fibonacci sequence are this. Find the 6th term. Well, that's a little bit trickier, but again, we can work this one out. So here I'm going to start off with n. And I've got 3n. I'm adding those two together, and I get 4 lots of n. What's my next one going to be? Well, 3 and 4, 3 lots and 4 lots is going to be 7 lots of n. So even though we've got an n there, it's as if we're just looking at the integers. 4 lots and 7 lots, well, that's going to be 11 lots. And the next one is going to be 7 lots and 11 lots. That's going to be 18 lots. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's my 6th term. So it looks like my answer is just going to be 18n. And let's have a go at that. Very good. And question 29, the last question. So here we're looking at our volume of column vector, beg your pardon. And just to remind you how we do this, we add the x values and we add the y values separately. So first of all, I'm going to look at the x values, and a, the value there is 3. And then minus 2 times b, the value there is 5. So it's minus 2 times 5. So what do we have? That's 3. Using BIDMAS, take away 10. And that's going to be negative 7. Stick to the top. That's my change in the horizontal is negative 7. And then for b, exactly the same idea. I start with 5. Oops. I start with 5. I take away 2 times that value, which is 2. That becomes 5 minus 4, and that becomes positive 1. So my final answer should just be negative 7 and 1. And let's hit submit answer. And it looks like we have got to the end of the paper. So we would have got there full marks for this examination paper. So as I said at the very beginning, I hope that's been helpful to you to see how we would go through these questions. What I would like you to do, please, is to have another go at those exams and the exam paper. And it's all to do with getting exam practice. I'd like you to increase your score by 20 marks out of 80 or by 25%. So if you are at, say, 40%, can we knock that up to 65%, please? I'm going to do the same thing for the other exam paper, which was which was an optional one in the Christmas holidays, because it's really good to get this practice. Thank you.